Ariana, and I'm a product designer from Prague. And today I want to highlight to you one of the most unseen and maybe hidden topic in digital design right now. This is how we can design for the group that usually goes excluded, and this is people with color procedure deficiencies, or like in a simpler way, that colorblind people. And this is the reason why I decided to create this presentation. So how we can design for colorblind users, what does it mean color independent design. So I hope you're interested in this topic, and let's move on to agenda of today. And this talk is split into 5 different parts. So first I will talk about why I actually choose this topic, who is the target group, and then I will walk you through what is the color independent design and the methods I use, and some examples of better design choices, what you can implement in your work, and finally some my reflection on what I have learned along the way. About this topic, this is the most interesting one, because why I actually chose this topic, and answer is really simple. As a product designer, I work on digital interfaces almost every day, and recently I realized that even well-created design can intuitively exclude users, especially those who don't perceive colors the way we do. And this awareness actually hit me during the course I took called How to Design for Accessibility by WCAG 2.2 standards by Liz Brown, and course Inclusive Design at Masaryk University. And all those pieces actually made me reflect on my own work, and I saw that some of my designs wouldn't be fully usable for colorblind users, simply because color was only one identifier. And actually that realization was the beginning of this presentation. So let's move on. Target group. Of course, colorblind users are the primary group I'm focusing on. People with protanopia, deuteranopia, and other form of color visual deficiency. But they're not alone actually. Like older people, older adults, and people with low vision also like benefits when design don't rely on color solely. And in fact, everyone benefits from clear labeling and strong contrast. This is the classic example of the curb cut effect, where design for some helps actually almost all. So let's dive into how common is it. And you might be surprised, but color blindness is surprisingly common. Around like 300 million people are affected worldwide, and this is about 1 in 12 men and 1 in 200 women. This is mostly genetic, but it also can be like as a result from age or eye damage. So this isn't just a niche problem, as you can see. This is a design issue that touches millions. And now move on to types of color blindness. There are different types, as you can see. Red-green color blindness is the most common one. It makes it hard to distinguish green and red colors. Blue and yellow is more rare, but still relevant. When we use red for errors and green for success, we will be excluding users who can't make that distinction. Here is a visual to show how different the world can look to someone with color blindness. There's a clear and obvious to someone, might be invisible or ambiguous to others. That's why like actually relying on color alone isn't enough. So for designers especially, so you can see here, for example, how this scale between green and red are really similar to each other, and here like yellow color almost disappeared, and all yellow scale is almost like a red one. So let's move on to color independent design. So what is color independent design actually means? Color independent design means we don't depend on color alone to convey meaning. We add support interactive elements like icons, labels, patterns, shapes, layout, everything, so that everyone understands the interface, no matter how they see color. And let me bring you a real world scenario. Imagine a forum with an error highlighted only in red, as you can see here. A colorblind user shared that they spent like hours trying to figure out what went wrong. They simply don't see the red. So now you can see how different this picture can be for like a normal vision and for colorblind vision. This is really like hard to catch this small change. Or like think about another example. Think about a chart or colored lines and no labels. Like, imagine if the color look the same to someone, the data become absolutely meaningless. And that's the kind of barrier we are talking about today. So let's move on, and actually, why is it important? Design beyond colors allows people with color blindness or low vision or age-related changes to still perceive and use our products effectively. And it's part what we usually call universal design. So this is like a curb cut on a box side. This is made specifically for wheelchairs, but in real life, this is really useful for uh, you can see here strollers, carts, and actually everyone else too. So accessibility for some really is usability for all. So let's move on to methods I used to test some of my solution variants, ideas, and etc. So to explore this topic, I used 5 main methods. I started with using tools like Coblis, and this is just a colorblind simulator to preview how my designs appearance with a different type of color vision. And I did a WCAG audit focusing on color and contrast standards. And after that, I prototyped multiple versions of design solution, and then ran a usability test to see which one worked best for my target group. And important to remember that accessibility guidelines like WCAG are vital, but they're not enough on their own, you know. Real life testing and simulators often reveals issues that we wouldn't expect, and that's why validating with actual users is so important. This is actually ensure your design isn't just compliant, but it's actually inclusive and intuitive. So, and here you can see an example of my usability testing that I ran for my solutions. And here is some solution that I came up after the testing. So the main change what made me think is how I approach the design itself, and those testing, reading different materials, and stuff like that, they really change my mindset. And now here is how I now approach interface design with color independency in mind. I always ask myself, if I convert this to the grayscale, does it still work? This is first one. Are alerts like distinguishable by shape or icon, not just color? Is contrast good enough for any, for example, I don't know, lightning condition? This helps me actually like test my design in my mind and in Figma for accessibility right from the start. And actually, now let's take a look at some more specific pieces of advice that I find out. And here is best practices I gonna include into my designs always. So first and foremost, this ensures sufficient contrast for readability. So maintain strong contrast between text and background. It can be not only text, it can be hover state, focus state, icons, standalone icons, progress bar. So it can be all interactive elements and just elements that bring the necessary information to the user. Error messages, some notifications, everything. Ensure the sufficient contrast. So, for example, here you can see a screenshot from my favorite contrast checker. I always use Web AIM contrast checker to meet WCAG 2.1, 2A or 3A standards. If you're not aware about what does it mean, so this is like a level of accessibility. So the higher number of A, the more accessible the contrast is. Minimum vital contrast, it should follow like 2A standard. And this is really like useful for me because you actually can see how the color can be used, and actually you don't need actually to think about the usage because it's actually here. And the next thing what I want to talk about is use icon with text label. Don't rely on color alone to convey meaning. Pair colored indicators with icon or labels. For example, like here you can see that text supported by icon. So you not just put the red and green text, you put an icon that can be like a good identifier for even colorblind users to understand what's going on and what requirements the password should meet. And the next piece, this is combine color with shapes, especially like in charts, graphs, but we're gonna talk about that on the next slide. And this example I bring from new material design. I really like how do they combine really good shapes as indicators. So actually this progress bar is change shape during the loading, and I personally in love with that. So move on. Here's a little bit more information how to make inclusive design choices. So this is important to note that inclusive design means making thoughtful choices, choosing like color contrast palettes, adding icons or text to color or in code base color coded areas, and testing your design using simulators. Like those steps make like little extra effort, but they dramatically improve the experience for people who might otherwise be excluded. Here you can see some examples of how you can use different symbols. For example, this is like color ADD symbol system. It's a system of graphical symbols representing colors, allowing colorblind individuals to identify colors through shapes. And this system is especially useful in educational materials and public signage. And the next, use patterns and texture in graphics and charts. So when you use like a pie charts or bar chart, including texture or patterns alone with color to help differentiate segments. So I know some tools like Data Wrapper or Flourish support this. And here's like a good example for chart, line chart, where you can make the different lines with a different style. So this actually improves accessibility and distinguishability. And the next important piece is use tooltips or hover text. When using color, when you use like colored elements like tags or badges, provide a text description on hover or focus, for example, for screen readers or people who can distinguish the color. For example, here you can see how in Google Doc you can see that what does this icon mean actually. And if what I presented today is not enough for you to convey you to improve your design by accessibility, here is just a little bit more of justification what I want to bring to you. So why does this matter? Really simple, because it improves accessibility, clarity, and usability for almost everyone, and it also eliminates the need for colorblind modes or extra workarounds. So I do think that even from the business perspective, it makes sense to create with accessibility because it builds trust in people. If you don't create any problem to use your interface, this really satisfied people much more. And here is a solution limits what I find out. Of course, accessibility is vital, but we need to balance because like that said, balance is important. Overusing patterns or icons can make the interface look like cluttered or overwhelmed. We also need to think about how things scale across screen size or in print, for example, if you work not only digital but in a physical product as well. And in some rare cases like full color blindness, always include descriptive text to make sure the message still gets across. And here you can see an example from Dr. Max website. Currently, Dr. Max is one of the most accessible website in Europe, and you can see that they really follow WCAG standards. They ensure high color contrast, but you see how the design look cluttered. And that said, balance is important. And now the final piece, lessons I learned, and I want to take camera on. Yep. And main thing what I actually learned, that accessibility is not extra. This is essential. And if I started my design with color independency in mind, this actually helped me to think about how I can provide more information to the user, how I can communicate this better. And this is the thing what we need to think from the start, not when all design is finished, but when it's just start. So I'm really think that accessibility and all those color independent design, it's not just like nice to have thing. It's really necessary, and this approach specifically improve quality, performance, and of course user trust. So here the my last slide here. Here is my last slide here. It's a Q&As. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it, and I would like to know your stories, your thoughts, your information about color independent design. Maybe I don't know, you have some stories when color dependent design created issues, or where color independent design made a huge differences. So this is all from my side. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this was some new information to you, and see you again. Bye bye.